G'day and welcome to the first edition of the Footy Show.
21st season of existence.
Welcome back to Turn It Up. You can only hear the conversation in the break.
The wait is over.
And let's kick it off now.
Oh, look at that!
Civil didn't score. It's farewell.
These women are creating history.
The crowd roars.
Johnson's over. Maybe God has come to Marathon.
Champagne Rugby League.
And Walsh comes rampaging onto the ball. Clearing, who punches through the middle. Nailed. Got it back to Gutherson. How about that?
Everyone is on their feet.
Slater, he's over Billy the Kid. Queensland have risen from the dead again. What a kick! And David gets there.
Not one person sitting.
Here goes Nico. Mutson's got it. There you go.
Oh, yes.
The magic man from Newcastle. How have they done this? The Broncos are back on top of the rugby league world.
Yes, hello and welcome to the Sunday Footy Show. Hope you're having a great morning wherever you are watching across the country. Haven't we seen some epic footy so far this weekend? So there's lots to get through, as always, with the gang. Good morning to you, Billy Slater. Hello, Andrew Johns and Brad Fittler. You can start us off with our Sunday salutes.
Excellent.
Get straight into it.
Let's go. Mine is the try save. I don't think I've seen a weekend or week with so many try saves and great ones. Started on Thursday night. Connor Tracy's came up with a beauty on Luke Garner. Here's Turbo. We bumbled this one, but somehow gets old Sedu too and gets his arm around there right on half time. That was a crucial play. Kai O'Donnell, poor bugger. He thought it was over. Oh, there it is, the line. Oh, no.
What about this one?
Well, Marky, it was a definite try there, but just they found a way to get underneath him. They've just mastered that.
Oh, this is.
And this is the end of the game.
That's the
And
best.
have a look at the reaction. Have a look at the celebration of this.
No technique in that one.
Ooh, that was all determination, but not quite as celebrated as much as tries, but I'm sure teammates love a try save.
Do you think there was an extra bit of feeling in that one for RTS, the fact that Will Warbrick is heading over there to the Warriors and perhaps that was, forced him to head over to the Super League?
There was so much in that game, I thought. There was.
That's a lot to think about in 2 seconds. This bloke's taking my position. I'm going to put him in the grandstand.
No.
I'm going to Super League next year.
It's more simple.
Super
Just
League.
smash them and get the win. We will dive into that one shortly. What's your salute this morning?
I'm saluting one of the great rivalries in our modern-day game of rugby league, and that's the Cowboys and the Brisbane Broncos. Look, the Cowboys are only 30 years old since coming into '95, and these were the early days, but there was a real glory period through that 2015 grand final era for the Cowboys. You see little Alfie Langer there playing against the Cowboys in the Super League days. I just feel that period through 2015, there was some wonderful games. And 4 out of 5 games through this period were decided in extra time. This one here was the 2015 grand final. Obviously, we all know how that played out. But they've just had some wonderful games against each other. A lot of high-scoring games, but a lot of games that have just come down to the wire. And Friday night was no different. It was a belter. And there was 2 field goals kicked in the last 6 minutes. Tommy a try-saving tackle. Should have made your segment that one, Freddy. But this was on Friday night. Scott Drinkwater kicked a field goal. He replied to the Tom Duffy field goal, and then this was the match-winning play with only minutes remaining on the clock. So a great rivalry, and Friday night did not disappoint us.
Yep, lots to dissect from that one as well.
Cohen Hess was good, wasn't he? He was really good, Cohen Hess.
What about Thursday night? The Doggies with the upset of the round.
Good old-fashioned ambush. And who else but the Bulldogs? This is the dogs of war. This is what they love to do. No one gives them a shot. They went out there and just physically took on Penrith and made them play out of their structure, which really unsettled Penrith. But I just got to say, one of the best wins the last couple of years from the Bulldogs, really. No one really gave them a chance after the way the Penrith Panthers are going. But I thought Jacob Preston, I thought he showed that he'll be in the Origin squad somewhere this year. Geez, he was good. That right side humming. With Lockie Galvin forming a great combination, but great team effort. They all rolled their sleeves up. They didn't win it by science. They won it by tough, hard work. So well done to the Dogs.
Good on the Doggies. Let's take a look at the results so far from round 6 and a good old-fashioned ambush, as Joey said, on Thursday night. So the Panthers get their first loss of the season. The Dragons still searching for their first win. The Cowboys getting home in an epic in that derby. Couple of tri-fests over in the West, the Raiders and the Roosters getting the job done, and then a monumental statement for the Warriors, handing the Storm their 4th loss on the trot. So, Billy, take us through the ladder as it stands with a couple of matches still to go for the round.
Yeah, we're mid-round 6, but it's starting to take shape. There are 4 teams in the top 8 that didn't play finals last year: the Tigers, Knights, Cowboys and the Rabbitohs. So some fans there getting some a little bit of excitement for season 2026. As we head down, can you believe that the Sea Eagles are only 2 points out of the 8? They could play finals this year, and where they were a couple of weeks ago before Kieran Foran took over. The 2 grand finalists for last year, Broncos and Storm, they need to get a wriggle on. They're sitting outside the 8. But a big game this afternoon, Tigers and Knights, a top 4 clash, live and free on Channel 9 here. This will be an absolute ripper.
Bring it on. Not many probably would have predicted a top 4 clash at the start of the year, but we will all be there out at Campbelltown a little bit later on. Time now, though, for our Sunday roast, what's hot and what's not in rugby league. And perhaps the biggest talking point of the weekend so far has been the disruptor rules. So there have been a few controversial ones in particular. One that went against Gemmet Shibasaki on Friday night, which was at a crucial time as well. And then in the Roosters match last night, one against Robert Toya. Michael Maguire and Trent Robinson were both visibly frustrated, but chose their words carefully after the match. And news late last night that the NRL are going to mid-round look into this and remind the officials of the way that this rule should be adjudicated.
The officials aren't to blame. It's the people who are telling the officials and rewriting the rules. So this isn't the referee's fault. I feel sorry for the referees, Bill.
Yep.
The way they have to implement these rules, too complicated. Just simplify it.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I feel sorry for the match officials as well, because they're just reacting to what the hierarchy are giving them. I think we have too many descriptions around a play, and we're taking the opinion of the referee away from them. I just think we're getting too technical for our own good. Look, I didn't see a huge problem with it beforehand, and I think we're trying to get too descriptive of what is an infringement and what isn't an infringement, and that's just creating a whole heap of conversation, which is what we're talking about. They're getting decisions wrong, tries are getting taken off teams that probably don't deserve to be taken off, and vice versa. So I just think it needs to come back a little bit, and like I didn't think there was a big problem with it, and it's probably flowing on to the rest of the game. You know, referees, we talk about players' confidence. Well, referees have confidence as well. And that's why we're seeing 20, 30 infringements in a game, because referees don't want to get one wrong. They're getting policed on the ones they miss. So I just think we need to give the responsibility back to the referee. They have a good feel of the game and a good feel of whether it's an infringement or not.
I think to give it history, if you go back years, it was getting to a stage where players were coming down with no intention to go for the ball at all, other than to disrupt the fullback. And that was either going up with a hand and putting it in front of their face or taking an arm out. That was happening a lot. And everyone was just looking up and going, well, they're just competing. And it was getting to a stage where people were mastering the art of just destroying the chance of the fullback. Obviously, the game's come out and said, you know what, we've gone too far. And they've pointed out that they've got the 2 wrong in this game. They said they got wrong. So hopefully in the middle of this, we find somewhere a little bit more consistent, a little bit more fair to both players.
Is that easy to achieve, that word that we talk about, though?
Tell you what, there's some laughable errors in these situations.
Tom Chester's.
And they're getting rewarded. Like that's getting rewarded, dropping that ball. Like that's.
Well, the beauty of that game was there was one either side, and they both scored on the set of 6 after. So if you want to get some balance, they got some balance in the Broncos-Cowboys game. But I think at the moment, just trying to get to that level, and I think they are. They're getting there. But the one thing they can't do is actually say to a referee, let's just go with your instinct on what the intention is. And they need to do that a little bit more. Back the referees, all their experience. They just find that hard. I think they get nervous, the media are going to come down on them about consistency and if different referees have got different interpretations. But that's the game at the moment. I think it looks a lot worse than just backing a referee.
I think we can all agree that it's great that the NRL have said put their hand up and said, OK, maybe we have gone too far, and they're looking at it. So we'll wait and see what happens over the next couple of weeks. Another big story from the week is the fact that Ipswich are pushing really hard to get that 20th licence in the NRL and reportedly targeting one hell of a trio, Wayne Bennett, Kevy Walters and Alfie Langer to be involved. Bill, I guess there's a couple of questions here. First off, do we have the talent for the 20th team if it is coming in around, the 2030 mark? And if so, is there an appetite for a fifth one in Queensland?
Yeah, I think the second question is absolutely. We absolutely have the appetite for another team in Queensland. We can see the interest in and around our game in Queensland. There's a huge want for rugby league up there. So 4 teams up there, you could certainly add to that. The big question mark for me is the quality of players. We're already seeing some of the teams down the bottom end of the competition that are lacking some quality players, especially in key positions. So, I love the idea of expansion. We're bringing in 2 more teams over the next 2 years, the Perth Bears and the Chiefs up in Papua New Guinea. But there's got to be a focus, energy and finances put into developing the game. Because if you don't develop players, you will have this logjam down the bottom of the competition where they have a hunger for quality players. And you need to go out there and make them quality players and help them achieve that. So there's enough players playing the game. We just need to make sure that we're focusing on the development of them.
When you say the development of the players, there's more players playing. Freddie will add the stats. More players playing, young boys and girls. What we have to do is educate the junior coaches how to coach these players, especially in the key positions, in the halves and the dummy half, where we don't want junior coaches at 18, 19 coaching halves to play like Nathan Cleary does now. We have to teach these kids the very basics and fundamentals of how to play the game in certain positions. And if we do that from a junior level, then eventually in 4 or 5 years, we'll have an abundance of these players. At the moment, we have to educate the junior coaches how to educate these young players in the basic fundamentals of how they play.
Is there enough investment in that area right now?
We can always look at more investment without a doubt. It's the way you do it. There's a club structure that you have, and that goes through like the Queensland, New South Wales models, down through the clubs, and then the SG Ball and the Harold Matthews and the representative system. And there's also the school system, which is a different sort of beast altogether, which, and you can develop them both. I suppose the big thing at the moment with about 220,000, the one thing that's killing our game at the moment is injuries. I think you find what happens is, like South Sydney are a perfect example. They had 3 or 4 injuries last year and could barely win a game. And this year they've got all their players out there and they're competing quite easily. So at the moment we're just seeing a couple of key players go out with shoulder injuries. So whether that's a new injury this year, but finding that balance of the balance isn't such a problem. I think it's more having the numbers, having enough quality people come through. I think the school system is so important purely because you've got a captive audience and you've got 17 and 18-year-olds there every day. And that way you can really sort of get to them, try to mature them mentally, physically, whatever you have to do. So I think that's a no-brainer.
The other avenue to explore is incentivising clubs to go out there and develop their area. We've seen so many players come through the Penrith Panthers, and I know there's advantages and disadvantages for some clubs, but if the game incentivises clubs to go out and develop their players and maybe get a concession through the salary cap if they bring them through their system, I think that will help develop the whole rugby league as well, because each club are going to go and develop their area. I know firsthand Melbourne Storm are putting a lot of energy and finances into developing the pathways down in Victoria. So I think if they go down that route, I think that can give us a little bit of a kickstart in development as well.
You can nearly put a map across the whole world if you want to, especially because now we're looking into Europe and looking into what's going on in England and the Super League at the moment. And that at the moment, because you've already got players up there playing, that where the clubs from here actually invest in clubs over there. So that way you have this feeder system going on. You've got Fiji, you've got Samoa, you've got Tonga, New Zealand. New Guinea's about to play a really big part in the development and the future of our game. So giving the clubs is a really good idea. Give them the money to then go and invest. It's just a matter of how you do that. Some do it better than others and some will put it in their pocket.
Interesting. Few years ahead, that is for sure. And just to finish off with a bit of transfer news. So Jaden Sewer has elected not to take up an option with the Dragons and reportedly told his teammates that it looks like he's heading to the Eels. What does that mean, first off, for the Dragons, and is the Eels a good destination for him?
Well, from the point of view, I really like these. They've got a lot of exciting young forwards coming through. You'd be worried if it was a world-class half or one of these positions, but he's been a really good player. But I think they've got the local juniors coming through, especially in those young forwards who can compensate. And look, he's probably... I don't know, has Jaden won a grand final? I don't think he's won a premiership. Realistically, he's not going to win one down at the Dragons in the next half a dozen years or 3 or 4 years. So probably thinks Parramatta's a club on the up, which they are.
Yeah, and I think he's probably looking at what Jason Rolls has done with a couple of back rowers at the Parramatta Eels, Kalma Tuolangi, Kautonga. They're two guys that have really developed over the last 12 to 18 months under Jason Rolls. So he's probably looking at that opportunity to go there and play in that system and under Jason as well.
What were you saying doing there? Oh, we're going to get a break.
Run hard, tackle hard.
Good. I like that.
Yes.
Get fit.
We're being told that's it. Wrap it up.
Sorry,
Good
mate.
chat, but I like that you always do what you're told.
Yeah. Save us after the
away.
break from more of the Sunday Footy Show.
There we go. Plenty more to come. But we're going to tell everyone what is coming up because Saturday night footy was epic. We'll dissect all 3 of those matches. Ronaldo Mulatalo is our special guest in studio and Steve Simpson in for the award-winning segment Turn It Up.
Sunday footy goes gangbusters. A Tom Moore showdown.
That was incredible. Sunday footy at its finest. The Tigers up against the Knights. Let's get ready to rumble.
With Sportsbet, you can now live stream thousands of sports from around the world. With a tap of a button, you can watch and bet on basketball from the US, tennis from France, or soccer from Spain. Unfortunately, we don't stream sports like Turkish oil wrestling, underwater rugby from Germany, or Scandinavian shin kicking. But for thousands of other sports, watch and bet all in one place with Sportsbet.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
What if you could have your investment watched like a hawk? At Vision Super, we keep strong returns in sight and look for ways to keep fees low so our members look forward to more. Vision Super. Super Vision.
Experience the most awarded King sofa, Jasper, designed to change and rearrange the way you live. Come home to the future of furniture. Come home to King. Hurry, sale ends soon.
An early swim on a cold winter's morning isn't everyone's cup of tea. But a delicious hot toasty after? That we can all get on board with. Bring a little cheer with Cheer Tasty Cheese.
The Specsavers Big Name Designer Sale ends soon. Don't miss out on any one pair of big name designer glasses with single vision lenses for the tiny price of $149. Hurry, ends 25th of April, only at Specsavers.
The Sunday Footy Show, brought to you by Sportsbet, the #1 app for having a crack. Chances are you're about to lose.
Bounces over for the Warriors. Corey carries Clark over. The Warriors have got their second long. It's on the bounce. It's beaten everyone. Oh, and Teddy's a Lesniak looks a fortune. The Tomas is set. Rogers got his first for the year. Ball kept alive. And they're over again. When Teddy's a Lesniak for the Warriors. Melbourne more than on the ropes. They're out of the ring.
They are so good to watch. And tonight they are at their absolute best.
Up the Wales, it was certainly a famous win from them last night, 38-14 over the Storm. It was a tough one to watch for Craig Bellamy. 4 losses in a row for the Storm now, but Joey, taking nothing away from the Warriors. That is one of the most extraordinary performances we have seen from them in a long time.
I was watching that last night and I thought there's one team that can win the grand final and there's one team that can't. That's how dominant they were. A lot of losses to some key areas for the Storm. Look, Katoa in the back row, they're really missing Eli Katoa. They've got inexperienced back rowers and outside backs. Yeah, it just seems to me they haven't got the team that can win it this year for the Storm. But the Warriors, what I saw in them, some of them young tearaways. There's about 4 or 5 of them in this team, Halasima and these sort of players.
That Tower.
They are unbelievable.
Laban.
Laban. Geez, there's some good young players. I understand they've got their pathways right the last few years, and you can see. Great to watch.
They had 2 tries where the ball hit the ground, but this is just on half time, which was a big moment. There's the second one. But I think the Melbourne Storm's discipline was terrible. They just coming up with penalties, just bringing them back into the game consistently throughout the whole game. So you talk about they've got a lot of changes in their team, a lot of players out, which they have. Sean Ball's the other back rower. But I think if you don't give those penalties away, you don't come up with those errors, and all of a sudden you're in the game a lot longer. So Craig Bellamy will be focusing on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, and when you're in a little bit of a hole like the Melbourne Storm are, like 4 losses on the trot, that's a hole. You find yourself doing individual things, trying to save the day and trying to put your team in a good position, but it actually goes the other way. So there's a lack of trust and connection, both with the footy and without the footy. In defence, we see some times where they're rushing in and they're missing their mark, and players are coming out of the line trying to think they're doing the right thing, and that's just compounding, the discipline stuff that Freddy's talking about. So, yeah, it's not any one thing. It's not like you just have to run hard and tackle hard and everything will be fixed. You've got to work together, and they got shown that by a team that were doing that in the Warriors. And I think that moment right at the end when Roger Tuivasa-Sheck tackled Will Warbrick, that just showed the want and determination that they had going to Melbourne, and they haven't won much against the Melbourne Storm of late. And it was a big win for the Warriors, but a bit of soul searching to do for Craig Bellamy.
Win the ball too. Just picking out players and running over the top of them.
How far's Tui off? Kamikamica, does anyone know?
Oh, no, I think that's still indefinite, yeah.
Missing Nelson off the bench, missing some forward power. And the back rowers, the way they defend, I imagine back rowers are so important for edge defence. Very inexperienced in the back row defensively. Big test. They're going to have to reinvent himself, really. Did Craig Bellamy made statements like that? Said we've got to look to change things up.
And he even said for himself as well. He said it's not just the players,
And then it's not just personnel either. You need to change some actions within the group, some attitudes. It's a collective. And you're absolutely right. There are some players still developing their careers. Suafalongo at fullback, which I think has been great. You've got Moses Leo on the wing, who's played a handful of games. Cooper Clark has played a handful of games. So there's players that are developing on the run here, but at the same time they've got some classy players in key positions, and they've got enough there to be playing better than what they're playing at the moment.
What about Tanner Boyd? Last year he was the 4th string playmaker, and he's grabbed his opportunity with both hands, and just that cool, calm head, and he's turning into really one of the premier number 7s right now in the competition.
It's just something sometimes with younger halves. They get to that age in their mid-20s and they get a hit of confidence for whatever reason. He just looks in total control of his game. His goal kicking is incredible. He's one of the best in the competition. They go up by sixes all the time. His general play kicking, they're darts. He hits them that well. Defensively, he's really strong. There's no real weaknesses defensively in his game, so well done. He's stuck to his craft. He's playing hooker in that at the Titans, but goes to show hard work and where it gets you.
Yeah. Andrew Webster's building something very nicely over in New Zealand. Then in Perth we had a couple of tri-fests. It was it was a seesawing encounter between the Raiders and the Rabbitohs, but eventually the Raiders snapped a 4-game losing streak and won, Freddy, which they desperately needed.
Well, I think what we did do, we also got an example of why we're going to Perth. The time difference is fantastic, so we're going to see more day games. And I think watching both games, they were just great exhibitions, some awesome tries scored. Got all pretty hot over there, so I know the Roosters game particularly got really a bit sloppy in the first half for the Roosters, but, the way they jumped out, the Canberra Raiders, then South Sydney never went away, come up with a couple of sort of tries through their superstars. Latrell just bullied his way over, and Cody Walker come up with a real slick bit of play, but there's a 100-metre try from Kaya Weeks. We're getting used to seeing them. That was
Wasn't that
brilliant.
a beauty?
Simi Sasungi. Now, if anyone playing out of position, no one's done it better than him at the moment. Even when they were losing, just coming up with brilliant plays. Cody Walker, twice he got caught out of that second defender. And when you go there, you've got to make your tackles because you get someone at you with speed and footwork. There's a lot of room around you, so be careful going into that second defender.
Well, just before this try, it was Hudson Young who actually fielded a kick that hit the uprights down the other end of the field, and then he made the effort to go back and score that try there. Like, he is in some great form, Hudson Young. Simi Sasungi's another one. Really smart by the Raiders. They scored 3 tries directly where Jai Gray went off the field and Latrell Mitchell went to fullback. Tallis Duncan, he went to that edge defensively on that left-hand side of the field, and that's exactly where they scored 3 tries. So it was really smart by the Raiders, and unfortunate for the Rabbitohs to get that injury, and there was a deficiency out in the back line. But there were some great moments. That Kaya Weeks try, that's one of the best individual tries that you'll see.
Look, everyone's jumping up and down about the 6 to go. I'm a big fan of the 6 to go. Look, obviously too many, especially Thursday night in that first half was ridiculous. But we haven't seen tries like this for the last 15 years. The game's opening up. There's more fatigue in the game. There's room to move. The smaller, faster players, the creative players in certain positions, there's more ad-lib footy. There's less structured footy, more ad-lib. I think the game looks unbelievable. What do we want? Do we want 10-8 or do we want 36-30? I know what I'd rather. What are you smiling at?
10-8 could be good.
Oh, mate.
It's a great 10-8s, but...
Who watches defence?
I agree. The one thing you are doing is you're getting frustration, though, from a lot of fans at the moment. They're sort of adjusting to the new age, and teams are adjusting as well. You know, like for the last 10 years, they've been told, slow it down, slow the ruck down, get every second you can out of it. And now it's adapting to you've got to get up and get back and get on side. Big difference.
What about how big of a loss is it, Jai Gray? AC joint, we just saw him go off, he's in a lot of pain.
Yep.
And that can be anywhere between, 4 to 8 weeks, depending on how severe. But they obviously have Latrell, still a big loss.
Yep. Yeah, it's an injury that you can sometimes come back a little bit quicker than that. So I think a month at most, depending the severity of it. You can play with pain-killing injections, so I wouldn't be surprised if he only misses a couple of weeks. The natural adjustment is Latrell Mitchell going to fullback, and we saw in this game the class that he has. He's going to get his hands on the football more, and that can only be a good thing for the Rabbitohs.
Alrighty, plenty more to come here on the Sunday Footy Show. Millie Elliott joins us coming up after the break. She's ready to rock and roll and talk about everything from... Come on, Sed. All the better for seeing you. See you soon.
Millie.
For the Roosters, still the last, comes to Radley, Radley goes over, and that should be the ball game.
Great win for the Tricolours over the Sharkies in Perth, and it's time to say hello to our very own Millie Elliott. Hello, Mill.
Hello.
You must have been very happy your Roosters got a win yesterday.
Yeah, it was great to see them get a win over in Perth. It looked very warm, didn't it? But great to see some footy played over in Perth. Victor Radley back, that was a massive inclusion for them, but took a little while for them to get going, didn't it, Bill?
Well, it was 16-0. The Sharks just flew out of the blocks, and it was all off the back of Blake Brayley. I think he started the game extremely well. He had a hand in all 4 tries for South Sydney, and then the Roosters just clicked into gear and didn't give their opposition another chance. Hugo Savala in the centres, I thought he was amazing. He's just such a versatile player. He could play anywhere from the forward line to out in the backs. He's doing a great job in the centres. The 2 halves were very creative, Sam Walker and Daly Cherry Evans. This was a wonderful kick, just a heads-up play, one that we see from Sam Walker a fair bit. But it was a great game to watch. Plenty of tries being scored and in front of 35,000 people over there in Perth.
A double from Cherry Evans as well. It's all starting to click for them, Freddy, isn't it?
Well, their kicking game, when you think about Daly Cherry Evans and Sam Walker, the one thing that stands out is their brilliant kicking game, and it doesn't look the same each kick. Like you saw Sam Walker's to Daniel Tupou. It was just, so I don't know if it was off the cuff or they read each other well, but they've got this ability just to strike you from anywhere. Markey's gone up. He's had 2 tap-backs, scored 2 tries. They were never in the game the first half. 50% completions for a big part of the first half. And they scored that try right on half-time, and they scored straight after half-time, and that just broke Cronulla.
They didn't even look like they were playing their best footy yet either. I mean, for Sharks, and their Sharks are a great team, but for them to be up with such a big lead to begin with and then for them to hunt them down, I think they only finished the Roosters with just over 70% completion.
Yeah.
So it's, if they can swing things together, they can be a very good team.
It's worrying signs for the Sharks, isn't it? Like to start like that and get out to such a great lead and then not be able to capitalise. Yeah, the Sharks, that's been the knock on the Sharks for a while now, is when things are going their way, they're as good as any team. But once they hit a bit of adversity, that's when they really struggle. So still a bit of work to do there in the Shire.
How good was it to see Victor Radley back?
Yeah, his defence. He's such a great defend in the middle. And you can see people, they spot him and they know not to run at him. And I think also that he's distributing with the ball. He plays a massive role for them, being that extra sort of creative player in the middle of the field. He's dead set like a bag of rice, he is. Like he's just...
A bag of rice.
Like a big sack of rice. He's just heavy.
I think it's better than a sack of potatoes, but...
Is that boiled rice or fried rice?
I'm thinking of that big barrel of rice there.
Hope it's not fried.
I tell you one guy that we just, we just get used to his output in every game he plays is James Tedesco.
Yeah.
He ran for nearly 300 metres, and when it wasn't going the Roosters' way at the start of the game,
Bag of rice. Where's your head at? What is a bag of rice?
Just heavy, mate. He's like when he hits his boof. Everything about him's heavy.
Boof.
Yeah.
Very technical terms.
Sorry, Teddy, I was trying to give you a rap there, but
No, keep going, Bill.
I just think we overshadow his input into the games. And like I said, when it wasn't going the Roosters' way earlier in that game, he took a quick tap and he was out on his feet, but he just puts in 100% effort every single time he takes the field. He's the heart and soul of that footy club at the moment.
And a big shout out as well to Angus Crichton from everyone here at Nine's Rabbitohs Sports on the birth of his first little bubba.
Good
new
hair.
babies at the Roosters now, right, Mill?
Such a beautiful little boy. I think his name's
Botox.
Sullivan
Look
Crichton.
at the beautiful lips on him.
Yeah.
I think
Like that little
feel
bit.
like in lips, not Botox.
I don't get Botox in lips. He's got the wrong one. I want to go back.
Where have you been walking barefoot?
Oh, God.
You've been walking barefoot around certain plants or something.
Wait, Freddie might need a breather. Joey,
Are we on air?
add some class back to this panel. I know you're a big fan of the Sammy Walker kick for Tupou. Take us through it without some kind of reference to rice or Botox.
This is a try to Daniel Tupou. I want you to look at a couple of things. We'll just pause it there. Firstly, Sione Katoa's back here. He's away from his centre. But the other one here is William Kennedy. He's there at that first defender. And what will happen, when the ball goes away, William Kennedy will slide in behind. But the key here is they go 2 passes wide to Sammy Walker. And watch what happens here to Katoa. When the ball goes a little bit wider, he has to come up. No, he'll push up here. The ball will go out the back to Sammy Walker. He pushes up. And it's premeditated because Daniel Tupou, he's leading there. But Sammy Walker, look at this, just inch perfect. William Kennedy can't get across there in time. Daniel Tupou goes over. Geez, how many tries has he scored now? He scored
How many off you? You got 2?
Yeah,
He'd be close to 200.
Close to
3
you, Bill?
maybe.
Yeah.
I think he's 186 or 187. He got 2 yesterday, so yeah, only a matter of
keeping
time.
count.
Yeah,
And
I'll be on the podium shortly. Won't be long.
And the other try is Jesse Calhoun. Now, the key here is a couple of things. A bit of ball movement. They go wide. And what happens is, with them going wide, they get a one-on-one tackle here. So they play it there, one-on-one. He gets to the outside of Robert Toya. Legs tackle, gets the one-on-one tackle, and then quick play the ball, and they look up. And because teams really over-chase, they chase from the inside. Look at all these players going around in scramble, and they look up into space. Look at the space there. Quick play the ball, and Jesse Calhoun, he pushes into space. He's a good player, this young bloke. Jesse Calhoun. He goes over and tackling him is like a bag of flour.
That's mean.
It's hard, mate.
Flower seems soft.
No, I'm just backing up with old spaceman over here.
Flower's as heavy as
He's not fat shaming him. Flower's fatty. Rice is
fried
strong
rice
and tough.
Fried rice goes straight to your side.
Oh, just before we go, you two, Blake Brayley, is he ready for an Origin debut?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the way you have your benches these days, you've got 6 on the bench, so I think he'll definitely be there, whether he's starting hooker, part of their plan or part of their, plan B, he'll be definitely there. And he's just got so much craft out of dummy half. He's tough. And
He's been playing full games.
he's resilient.
For how long?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Very big minutes.
Well, Reece Robson's the other one, so he's still finding his way. He's only a couple of games in at the moment, so how long to go, Bill? Another 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah, 4 or 5. Yeah, about that. 5. I think 5 games.
I just think one of these Sunday sessions we should chat about Queensland. We're always chatting about New South Wales. You never give us anything.
He just fobs off.
Hit me with a question.
Bill's chair just does that.
Is Reece Walsh going to be fullback?
It's not going to work.
Right, so look at this.
Jesse Calvin. Go and have some rice.
Don't call me Flower, that's what he's saying.
Joey, you're just fried rice without the rice. All right?
Right. We need to take a break
I'll stay away from that.
before we say anything which gets us taken off
Welcome to
air.
this show.
After the break, we're going to talk about the Doggies' big win over Penrith to hand them their first loss of the season. And don't forget, we're only 19 days away from the greatest rivalry in rugby league. Women's State of Origin kicks off April 30, live, free and exclusive here on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
State of Origin is underway. Look out, Chapman. Here's a run. Gives it to Sanchez. Oh, what a pass from Kelly. Let the ring in the make it remember that. Y'all remember that. Queensland hit back. What a tackle. Brown. Spectacular rugby league. Flying for the corner. The stage is set for history to be created.
Y'all gonna remember this.
At least 12 tackles back to back. Preston straight through the hole, takes advantage. They're back ahead. They're pulling their way up the field again. It's Preston. He positions to Manua. We've got the first big boil over of the year.
Yep, some very happy Doggies and fans on Thursday night. One of the upsets of the season, handing Penrith their first loss of 2026. Now, Joey, I'm going to come to you first. You wrote your column during the week and spoke pre-game as well about the way, always, everything you do is award-winning, about the way to beat Penrith.
Yeah.
Did you tell Stephen Crichton before the match, because there was some vision behind the scenes, I think it went on air, of you having an in-depth conversation with Critter?
Well, I look that
What did you
old.
tell him?
I was just talking to him about the shapes he runs on the edge and the head noise that goes through my head when I put my head on the pillow. No, I was just talking about different shapes he likes to run. In particular, I was asking him about Galvin. What shapes he likes to run off Galvin. Does Lockie Galvin talk? And I was asking him about Mitch Woods, the young halfback coming through, and his thoughts on that and how they're going to play. Good guy, Stephen Crichton. Yeah. Really good guy.
And essentially, they listened everything you said pre-game about targeting in between Talangi and the
Yeah,
clean.
they're hitting the gap outside of it,
Didn't they ever?
Well, I saw Parramatta a couple of weeks ago, and they weren't hitting the space between the half and the back rower. They were hitting the space between the half and the centre, and they did it perfectly. Jacob Preston in particular, but they were running the gap, see there, kick out, running the gap between the centre and Nathan Cleary. And with that, the outside defence can't jam and get in your face. I thought it was really good coaching by Cameron Ciraldo, and they just blew them away. They showed that if you roll the sleeves up and you break the rhythm and make them uncomfortable, they're very beatable.
That was a try. Milky Jenkins, he's scoring tries. He's just counting the numbers at the moment. This guy was outstanding, Jacob Preston. I thought their 2 back rowers were real strike weapons for the Bulldogs. They got off to a really hot start, the 16-0 at the start of the game. Panthers made a bit of a fight back, but they just put them under pressure. And Joey, you mentioned before about going after the game physically. And that doesn't just mean without the football defensively. I think that's the obvious one. They certainly did that, but they did it with the football. They went after their game and they attacked. And they went sideline to sideline and they punched through the middle. And they just looked like they had a real belief about them that week. And, you know, there's been a lot said about the Bulldogs in the media. There's been a lot said about the Panthers in the media. And it really flipped the script. So I just thought it was a great reminder in the NRL that everyone's beatable and that if you get your physical side of your game right and you go after your game, anything can happen.
I think it also takes a little while for a half and a back rowers combination to come together, and there's been so much said about Galvin in the media, and he hasn't even played that much footy, let alone with the Bulldogs.
Games.
Yeah, and him alongside Preston, I mean, like you said, Joey, they just were hitting the exact right spots. They had people flooding the middle, coming back through. I think Sitili Tupanua off the bench has been outstanding every week, but it's that combination between the half and the back rowers where you're building that trust week in, week out, and they were untouchable last night.
And when the game was on the line, this was the first play they went to. Preston scores the try, and this was the second play. Preston makes the line break, sets up Sitili Tupanua. Game on the line, you go to your gun players. Galvin and Preston, they're building that combination now.
Well, Freddy's at the analyser. Can you dissect that one for us?
Sushi bar.
There we go. What we're looking at is the back rollers, and actually we're going to compare him to a player that Joey and I played with, Adam Muir. We had such great back rollers in the Origin when we played. Ben Kennedy, Steve Menzies, Adam Muir, Steve Simpson, who's on later. But the thing I love about Jacob Preston is firstly want you to watch how he works with Lachlan Galvin. He doesn't over-impede or stampede Lachlan Galvin. He just gives him time and space, and just watch the way he just moves onto it and then picks up his speed gradually. You can see he's sort of gotten an idea of what he wants to do, but he allows Lachlan Galvin to do what he has to, and then he finds the space. Here's the second one. Here's the try assist. Once again, he's looking at the defence and he's just watching Lachie Galvin, watching him. This time he hits Blaze Talangi, he spins off him and puts Tupanua over for the try. But I just like how he doesn't premeditate what he's going to do. He just works with the halfback. And here's Adam Muir. I couldn't find one at a try with you, Joey, so I had to find this fat, slow lock forward. Got a poor ball, hits the ground. Just watch Adam Muir behind, just timing his run perfectly, just waiting for the gap to open. And just great whole running back rollers. It's a real art. They've just got that they've got the mindset of a 5'8", but they've just got that power and strength just to punch the line and the speed to do it. So we had some great back rollers. You play with Adam Muir, mate. Can you tell us about him?
They just knew where space was. We're going to have later in the show Steve Simpson on Turn It Up. He was one of the best. Ben Kennedy. They just understand timing and what space to get into. But without being too technical, there's space and there's good space to run into. And there's poor space. These guys really knew where the great space was. And the trust, you got trust in each other. And that's what's happening with Galvin and Preston. They trust each other. It's a really good combination. Now the challenge for Lachie Galvin is get on the other side and do it with kick out. So that's the next challenge, but it was great to see.
Will Preston play Origin?
Yeah, definitely. The other part about space is, and Billy Slater knows as good as anyone, is when you look up, the space is normally where a person is. Because what happens, a good ball, players, they'll come across and make them move, and then all of a sudden the space is where someone was. So you can't anticipate where it actually is sometimes. So allowing the ball players their room and let them use their craft, exactly like Preston does with young Lachlan Galvin, just gives him the time to take someone out of play to open up the space for him.
Brilliant stuff, as always, over on the analyser.
Thank you.
Price.
Still plenty more of that to come here on the Sunday Footy Show. We're going to recap an epic Queensland derby. Steve Simpson in, the Knights and Blues legend for Turn It Up. And we're going to look ahead to a top four clash this afternoon, the Tigers and the Knights. As we head to the break, here's a little preview of what is to come.
Canberra and Newcastle commence their journeys through the 2024 Premiership.
Debut. That's weird. I've never actually seen that video before me running out on debut.
Ponga down the short side. They go to Gamble.
First try. Just got me off the nudie, man. I was worried for a sec.
He can almost reach out, the big man, he does.
Fake him there, bang. Gosh. Obviously moving now to Sydney from Newcastle, and I think the main reason I moved would have been for Benji. He spoke to me about his vision of me. He spoke to me about his vision of the club and where he sees the club going. And you know, there's been a few Englishmen who have come out to Tigers as well and smashed it. So got standards to keep up.
The Tigers dominating the short ball. Kai Pearce-Paul on club debut. He gets a try for the Tigers, and isn't he thrilled about it?
Duffy, he's thinking one, and he has nailed it. The former Cowboy. It's with Drinkwater. Drinkwater. He's got it! He's got it! 31 all! Cotter, he keeps it alive. Bearden, Clifford, they must score! They will score! Oh my goodness!
You could not have scripted what unfolded at Suncorp Stadium in the derby on Friday night. This was part of your salute, Bill. What did you love most about this one?
If you were to script it, it would go exactly how it was planned. It had absolutely everything. Pat Carrigan went into the sin bin after the Broncos got out to a 6-0 scoreline. And then the Cowboys, they capitalised off that. They scored a quick double in that 10-minute period. And then it was just a seesawing battle. Sonny Luke, he came on the field. There was a HIA to Reid Marnie. Both teams went at it, scored some great tries, and then right at the death, 2 field goals in the last 6 minutes, and then the last minute try. This was it here. Jake Clifford does a great job just to hold the ball up for Helam Lukey, and the Cowboys get the chocolates. They haven't got the chocolates too many times against the Broncos of late, and that was a belter.
It was so good. Such a great game. I mean, it was Cowboys to win, though. The Broncos didn't have Walsh. They didn't have Reynolds, Hunt. It was going to be a hard task for the Bronx to win that one. And, you know, Cows have had a couple of good wins. I think the combination between Drinkwater and Purdue linking up, like, Purdue's just, he's unreal, isn't he?
He's fast.
That was a full counter-attack.
No rice in that.
What about Scott Drinkwater? So this was game 150 in the NRL. All bar one of them at the Cowboys made his debut down at the Storm in 2018. And also to be able to just hold off the outside noise, because that afternoon it broke that the club had also given him permission to look elsewhere. So there was a lot going on, the milestone, the outside noise, but a great game from Drinky.
And once it hits the outside noise, that means the noise is inside for a couple of days. So he is a silky player, Scott Drinkwater. And the Cowboys are in the position they're in. They were 0-2 after 2 rounds in this competition. They won their last 4 games. And a lot of that comes down to the creativity of Scott Drinkwater. Like he was the class difference in this game here. I know there was no Walsh, no Reynolds, no Hunt, but he was certainly the difference. And now potentially this might be his last year at the Cowboys.
They looked a bit like Penrith, didn't they? Moving the ball. They moved the ball a lot and it looked really slick.
Keeping it alive, lots of offloads.
And you talk about Drinky, I think he's just the difference. He turns the slick movement into the try, turned into a field goal. I think if he got offered $100 million, I think he just had another 100.
100 million.
100 million. 100 million. The other thing...
That's your pay packet.
I wish. I'm trying to think what I was thinking about.
Well, the last 3 weeks they beat the 2 grand finalists, the Storm and the Broncos, and they kept the Dragons to 0. They've been impressive. They've been playing some really good football. Tamalolo's been outstanding. He's wound back the clock.
He knocked out the poor hooker.
Oh, yeah, Blake Moser.
Yeah. I remember what I was thinking. Well, Drinky was always criticised that he couldn't play tough, or when things got tough, or under injury. He had a rib injury early on. He played in under injury a couple of weeks ago as well. Like, you know, once he's nailed that, and it's obviously, you can tell over the last month he has, he's as good as you get, because you need to score points to get confidence. There's no good going there just tackling. Eventually someone's going to score on you. But if you can score points, it just gives you so much more confidence. And that's what he brings at the moment. He's doing it tough, so he becomes a very valuable player.
If he leaves the Cowboys, obviously Jackson Purdue has just signed a long-term deal to stay at the Cowboys. there's a hint that he might go to fullback. If Scott Drinkwater leaves, where's his best suitor? Is it Perth Bears or does he go to the Dragons? There's been talk about that.
Well, mate, the Dragons need to score points. So he'd be perfect for the Dragons. And it's a shame. Well, Tyrell Sloan did a pretty good job, and you can see even him just injecting himself makes a difference. I think he come up with a few injuries which didn't help him. But, yeah, definitely down there they need someone with a bit of flair.
Yep. Because, yes,
No, I was just going to go back to the Cows. I think Tommy Dearden has been that player that's been doing so much, but with Jake Clifford now really stepping up, taking a little bit off his plate so that they can both play that brand of footy that they love to. They're playing quite freely.
They're passing the ball. Just kept passing the ball and fast people all over the field.
Yep, and they're all contributing. That's the other one. I thought the Broncos were brave. I thought Tom Duffy was outstanding. He came up with some really good moments. Obviously, a former Cowboy himself going down to the Broncos. He got thrown in the deep end with Adam Reynolds pulling out midweek. So, it was a brave effort by the Broncos, but the Cowboys, they're just having too many contributors across the board for them to get beaten by an undermanned Broncos team.
The other spectacle was the goal kicking. I think they only between them only ended up missing one goal maybe by the end of the game, and there was plenty from the sideline. The young Tom Duffy was outstanding with his kicking. And then Jake
Clifford.
Yeah, Jake Clifford. They couldn't miss. They were awesome.
He's playing full of confidence. A bit of news out of the Broncos this morning as well. So it is a broken jaw for Blake Moser. So wishing him all the very best, probably out for 6 weeks. And Ben Takura has actually been granted permission to try and make it in the NFL and to head over to one of the training camps. We think the same
He's
one.
big enough.
Now. Yeah.
And he's
Back
only young
into-
too.
Big dude.
19 years old.
Yeah.
Ben Takura.
Yep. So all the very best. Hope that works out, that's for sure. The earlier match on Friday, the Dragons 0-6 for the first time in their history, and that's now 10 straight losses. Millie, they won't see it this way because they still didn't get the win, but you could see they put up a fight. It was certainly an improved performance. You could see they were playing out there for Flano, but it's just not clicking.
Yeah, it was definitely an improve from last week when they played at Cogra and didn't get a point, but it still seems like they're playing very one out and things just aren't clicking in the spine, and then they switch off for moments and there's just lapses in their defence, and good teams just take advantage of that. Manly, they weren't as good as they were last week, but they still did enough to win that game, and their big players really stepped up.
So Shane Flanagan, he sat on the sideline, which he doesn't often do, and said post-match, well, you know what? I've got nothing to hide. You can come and film me here. And after looking or seeming a little bit rattled in that media conference last week, he seemed a bit more the Flano we expect and a bit more defiant. Do you envisage that? I mean, the results, they're not great, but the fact that we've said plenty of times maybe there's not a better option at the Dragons, do you think he's got another month or so?
Probably not. He probably doesn't have another month if they keep playing the way that they're playing. Moving down to the sideline, he's trying things. He's trying to change. He's trying to change something that gets a reaction from his team. And there was a bit of fight. You know, they went down 3 tries to 0 in the opening 15, 20 minutes. And then his team fought. They hit the lead. They got back in front. But the knock on the Dragons is the creativity. And the creativity comes from your key position players. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And they're just not quite getting it done. 2 of their 3 tries on Friday night were from dummy half. One was Leilua just barging over from a tap, and the other one was from Little from dummy half. So they need to be more creative. How they get that, whether it's personnel, whether they change some things up with their attack, I'm not too sure. But unfortunately, if the results don't change, I don't think a month's it's going to be a lot quicker than that.
Pretty tough month. You got 4 teams in the top 8, so.
But would you wait till the bye to make a decision, which is still a couple of weeks away?
So you got South, Roosters, bye. So
that's when it might happen.
There's a lot of other decisions. You know, there's a financial decision. There's, you know, if you've got confidence in the person you want to put there. So there's other things weighing in on this decision.
God, who would coach, hey?
Big
Not all bad. There's some great moments.
God. It's great being on the panel with you guys as well, but it's even better that we say a very big hello to Joel Kane from Sportsbet.
G'day, g'day team. Firstly to the panel, rock solid. Rugby league, just love you guys. It's been so rock solid. I said to myself, I'm not coming back until someone beats Penrith. I thought I'd have the year off, but Bulldogs spoiled the party. And here I am. What about this? If you go to the grand final hub, you can already back the Panthers to win 13 plus. If you forgive them the other night, 20 plus, whatever you like. But there's big games coming up today. Titans take on the Parramatta Eels. What's Pepe Le Pewing? How are the Gold Coast Titans outsiders? I can't believe this. I really can't believe this. 6-day turnaround for Parramatta. Highly emotional. A golden point against the Tigers. Before that, they get up all week for the Panthers. And I do agree. Look at this injury toll. I do agree. If we're giving dispensation for rep footy, surely if your player goes out for the year due to foul play, you also should get that salary cap dispensation. But anyway, that's another topic. Tigers take on the Knights. Outright second for the team who wins this one here. The Tigers up and about. However, we know they love Leichhardt, the 8th wonder of the world. The record around 56% there at Campbelltown. Fun fact, Tigers got a better record at McDonald Jones Stadium where they do against, at Campbelltown. So this is a big game for them. The concern I do have for the Newcastle Knights, Greg Mars, who's about as big as me, that Boeing jet Tavana, they're going to look for that kick. He'll be sailing up high. So maybe Tavana pinches a try. Maybe the Knights win the game. Same game, multi. Enjoy your Sunday. Can't wait. Love it. It's all on the feed on Sportsbet. We'll see you soon.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.
Still to come on the Sunday Footy Show, Newcastle and New South Wales legend Steve Simpson joins the boys on Turn It Up. We preview Sunday Arvo footy between the Tigers and the Knights, and finally, with plenty of laughs and skills, the beloved Freddy's pass-off. You're watching the 34th year of the Sunday Footy Show. Don't go anywhere.
While the Hunter River runs through his hometown of Singleton, Steve Simpson has it running through his veins. He's as much at home there as a coal train.
Is there any chance to get a day's work or what?
Born and raised in Singleton, Simpson is a professional footballer these days, but a heavy vehicle mechanic by trade.
Look at his hands, look how soft they are.
Yet there's nothing soft about the way the 22-year-old 100-kilo forward plays his football.
Simpson!
Hello, welcome to Turn It Up, and we've got Steve Simpson, the hardest running back rower, the big horse. Thanks for coming on, Simo. Let's talk about running fast and running hard. I've never seen anyone run so hard. Where did that come from?
Don't know. I think you got to. Everything's a contest for me. So obviously, if I'm running harder than they're coming at me, I think that's a way to win that contest. So.
Well, when you used to line him up against me, I'd always go, Fitzy.
What was he like? What was he like? Because I used to send him at you all the time. What was he like to tackle?
Man, it's just knees. You just get his knee, a cork. You just come off the field, you'd be cork there, cork there, cork there. It was funny when I used to play you blokes, and I'd just go to Fitzy because Fitzy'd want to tackle everyone. Yeah. And he'd want to sprint in, and be the third one in the gym. I'd go, mate, we've got bigger battles to fight here. I need you to tackle him.
What about playing for a club like Newcastle? You're from the Hunter Valley. It's buzzing at the moment with the team going well. What was it like back in your era?
Yeah, it was brilliant. Like to represent that area. It's not only Newcastle but the Hunter Valley. I'm sort of from around that Singleton area, and just to represent that area is so good. That's our local team, and we all strive to play for them, which is really good. And our kids still do now. It's a great area to live in and a great area to represent.
Really tight gang back there. As a team, we were really tight. A couple of players you were really tight with. Matt Parsons, like your roommate, there he is in jersey 10. Big Parso, tell us about him.
Parso, he's a good man. He's the grandfather of the team, Parso, if you hate me saying that. But he was good. Like, I was only a young kid when I was coming through then, and just to have some great figures and role models there coming through. And he's a country boy as well, so we had that in common. We used to go fishing every Wednesday.
You and him and Ben Kennedy. Hook, line and sinker.
Yeah, hook, line and sinker. Parso, used to, yeah.
What about Ben Kennedy?
Yeah, he's a character. It was great to have someone
psychopath.
Like him. He is very much a psychopath. But it was great to have someone like him to learn from as a young player coming through. So
what did you learn off him?
Look, he's so competitive, I reckon. That's a big thing, and I learned that from him. And we were a competitive team. Like, we sort of wanted to win everything. I remember we used to do left on right through the week, and it was on, like, poor old Barney.
Yeah.
Who reached out yesterday to say g'day, but Barney used to be a referee, and he used to just cop abuse. It was on.
Where was Joey in the fishing club? He didn't get to come.
No, in the
fishing.
Surfing.
He was in the other water.
They wouldn't let me in confined places with him.
What was it like to play with Joey? Like, obviously, he was your right-hand man. What was it like to play with him?
No, it was brilliant. Like, he was very scathing if you didn't get your job right, which is fair. Like, if we're there to win and we're there to get a result, so you knew you had to do your job, and my job was pretty simple: hit a hole or do whatever I could to gain momentum from a team. And if it wasn't there, he'd let you know, which is fine. But great player to play with.
What about this moment? We're looking at the 2001 Grand Final. What are your memories of that?
Yeah, best night, I reckon. Best night of my footy career, that one. We're such a tight-knit crew there. A lot of local fellas too. Like, I think it's 13 or 14 local players there in that team. And, obviously they come through that 97 team, a lot of our older players in that squad. But our young players sort of bought into what they were creating there. And, really special night.
Now, you're watching your son come through. I watched him play for Maitland High.
Yeah.
Up at Central Coast last year. What's it like watching Roy come through now?
Yeah, it's good. Like, he's doing really well. His game's developing along. He's fit and really goes after that side of his game. So, it's good. He's doing quite well and making the most of his opportunity.
Well, do you give advice?
The bull didn't jump the fence. He looks identical to you.
No, advice is I just told him to be at the front. Like, I think that's what helped me get my start, especially in the fitness side of the game. So you don't want to be at the back, you want to be at the front, and he's certainly doing that, which is good.
You played rep footy. What about representing New South Wales?
It was good, loved it. Something you only dream of as a kid, and to do that and have the privilege to do that was great. And look, our team from Newcastle helped me get to there. Like, we were playing well, and off the back of that, they reward players in that system that's doing well to get their rep jerseys. So certainly enjoyed my time there, and really enjoyed it.
You still live in the Hunter Valley on a little farm, I hear?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we've got sort of 40 acres we live on just in the centre of Maitland, so a bit of a lifestyle block with sort of cows and a few horses and just a bit of space, mate, which is good.
You ride?
I do, not well. Not well, but yeah, no,
Billy said he'll come up and show you.
Yeah, my wife's more of the horse rider than I am, but look, I rode a bit as a kid. I was never any good, but got on and had a bit of fun, but very similar now. No technique really, but I do enjoy getting on a horse every now and then.
Did you try to live in the city?
No.
No, never tried.
Look, I lived in Newcastle for a while, but my last sort of 3 or 4 years, I like space and to get out and about. I always have. My wife does too. So we we've always sort of lived on property, which is, suits me fine.
What about coaching? You've dabbled in a little bit of coaching in the lower grades?
Yeah, I did a bit of pathway stuff last couple of years. Not in there at the moment, but I got a good opportunity at the Northern Hawks. They're a Denton Cup team, only been in the comp 3-4 years. They represent the Port Stephens area, so Raymond Terrace and Nelson's Bay. And they had their first win last night, round 1, which was great. They had a bit of a rough year in their Denton Cup team last year, but they're working hard at the moment, and really, really positive signs there.
What about since you retired, some of the back rowers who have played over the last 15 years? Who have you respected and liked watching? I
love Liam Martin, I reckon, the way he plays. He's just that hard and tough and fit and uncompromising, so he's one. And obviously Jacob Preston at the moment, just to see his rise and running those really nice lines he's running and getting them combinations going, it's great to see.
Well, the bloke you got captain for New South Wales, Boyd Cordner. He's from up the coast. He should have played for us anyway.
He should have been at the Knights for sure. But look, he's brilliant, mate.
Because this reminds me so much of the way you used to run.
Yeah. Look, I think with Boyd, just his work rate, I think. His work rate and just how hard he works and how hard he hits a line. So, you certainly admire people like that. He's a great person. I'm lucky to meet Boyd last year and certainly one that shouldn't have got away.
It was funny when I used to train, obviously I was coaching Boyd and train, he kicked. He's got a really good kick. I said, mate, why don't you kick in the game? He just went, no,
not my job, right? Fair enough. Don't blame him.
I'll stay in my lane, exactly.
Yeah, don't blame him.
What about the boys we played with? You see many of them around town?
I do see him every now and then. Look, I don't get into town much. Like, we're in Maitland and tucked away there. Like, every now and then I'll get in there, and but we're sort of busy with our kids and our family. But when I do get in there, yeah, it's great to see him.
What about the local comp up there, the local juniors? Do you get to see much? The kids from Cessnock and Curry, these places?
Yeah, I've coached like my son's team going through the juniors there for the last probably 5 or 6 years, I think. So I sort of get to see a lot in that local competition. Some great kids there. Some ripping kids there. Yeah, there is. There's some great kids. Like in the Port Stephens area that I'm sort of in charge of their Denton Cup at the moment, there's over 1,000 kids playing in that one area. So there's 600 kids at Raymond Terrace alone.
Wow.
And there's like 330 kids at the Bay. We were up there a couple of weeks ago and had a training session there. And there's 330 kids, and that's record numbers for them up there. So the game's really strong. It's good.
Now, the Knights are in a 3rd versus 4th game today with the Tigers. Do you think the Knights can hold on? Like, people, I think, are just assuming them to fall away and fall out of the 8. What do you reckon?
No, I think they're playing for each other, and they're playing an exciting brand. I think Justin Holbrook's done a great job, and they're a happy group. You can just see they're really connected and a happy group. So I think they can keep it going. Like, they're gaining confidence, and I think once you gain that confidence, you sort of back your game, and I think they're a big chance this afternoon.
And they're doing it without Kalen Ponga and Dylan Brown. They're two big signings at the moment, which would indicate they're doing it off hard work.
Yeah, well, you look at the players like Fletcher Hunt. Great kid. He got there off hard work, and you see his game just taking off at the moment. Like, he's from.
Is he related to Quigley?
Yeah, I don't know. Could be, but no, he's a great kid, and just seeing someone that's worked hard through the pathways, get an opportunity, and you see his game's taken off this year. It's great.
Sure has. Well, talking about this afternoon, we're going to come back and we're going to preview the Sunday game. And thanks for coming on. Thanks for coming down the highway,
mate.
Simon.
Great to see you.
They shall hunger no more, neither shall they thirst anymore. Preach, preach up. Yes, sir. Get ready for the revolution. Come on. What you say now? Do you want a revolution? Do you want a revolution? Come on. Say it. Do you want a revolution? Come on. Do you want a revolution? Preachers out.
Tigers flying high at the moment off the back of this so-called Benji ball up against the Knights this afternoon at Campbelltown Stadium. And Joey, I think at the beginning of the year when we circled this one, we probably wouldn't have predicted that this was a top 4 clash.
No chance. Saw the Knights boys in Vegas, and they look really fast. I was worried about leading in because all new spine, and then watching at Brookvale, 4 Pines, when Dylan Brown and Kalen went down, I was, oh no, here we go. But as Steve Simpson said, they're playing with passion, they're playing tough, they're playing for each other. They've tweaked the way they play and attack, but it's all on effort. It's all toughness. So good to watch.
This bloke's been outstanding, playing with a PCL injury in his knee. Sandon Smith's been great. He's been a great buy. Dane Gagai's found a bit of his form from previous years. This guy's playing tough.
He's the one.
Phoenix Trosland. They are playing as a team, and a little bit like another team that I mentioned before. They're all contributing. Fletcher Hunt's got his opportunity. Dom Young back in the Knights' colours. And up against the Tigers. You said it's a sellout?
It's a sellout.
At Campbelltown?
I'm just being told, actually, so there's 1,000 left now, and until 1 p.m. there's a sale, $50 a ticket. So head to Ticketek or nrl.com/tickets. But you'd imagine with those last few now, it will be a sellout. It'll be heaving out there.
It'll be heaving. Yeah, there's talk about Centre of Excellence out there. I think that's a perfect place for the Tigers to base. It is one of the biggest growth corridors in Australia. So many players out there. So, and I think the Tigers, on the other hand, exactly what Steve Simpson was talking about, is they're competing. You know, they've got a little bit of brilliance that comes from Dewey and a few different players, Doreen Buller. But at the end of the day, they're competing and they're keeping the teams to only a couple of tries.
A guy that's flying at the moment for the Tigers is Kai Pearce-Paul, coming up against his former club. this afternoon. I'm sure he will have a few little nerves and want to play well, but the Tigers...
He couldn't play last year.
Well, he's on that side of the field. They've got the young centre.
You're nice.
What'd you do to him up there? He's just sucked the talent out of him.
You're on fire today.
Take your medication. Yeah, Kai picks ball. That side of the field, they got the young centre Wilson DeCourcy debuting, or first start, so it'll be a test for him. But this is going to be one heck of a game. I can't wait. It'll be high scoring, ball movement. The games this weekend have been unbelievable.
Who do you like, Freddie? Tigers or Knight?
I think just the Tigers at home. I just think Benji will, I think, just tell the players the importance of actually performing well out there. And I reckon they're good enough to stand up to that sort of pressure. I think it's very important they perform well out there, and I reckon Benji will impress that on his players, and I think they're good enough to do it.
Did you notice that stat that Joel Kane had before? They've only got a 37% win rate.
They've been uncompetitive for a long time.
So
and I think,
doesn't mean a whole lot.
No, I
Their
don't
fullback's super fit at the moment, and he is all class, Dream Buller. I think Appy Coruscant will make a real difference in and around the ruck. Quick play the balls, Appy Coruscant getting out. They're a footy team.
And I think when Jerome Luai went down, we thought, it's going to be a tough month for the West Tigers. But Jock Madden coming back to the club has been incredible. And even under pressure with those 2 kicks last week in that Easter Monday game, and he said, we were speaking to Adam Dewey after the match, and I said, we knew you had the boot to go 36 metres, and we thought maybe you were taking it. But Jock said to him, no, mate, I've got this.
Did he?
Yeah.
Well done. I've been watching him for years. And I've always seen a play there, but similar to Tanner Boyd, for whatever reason, hasn't nailed it, whether it's a confidence thing or a maturity thing. But he's in his mid-20s now. Talking about Steve Simpson, where he's from.
He a Scone boy?
It's a Scone thoroughbred. Steve Simpson's junior club. So, well done, Jock. I hope you don't play too well today, but I hope your consistency stays there because he's worked hard his whole life.
He's got different strengths to Jerome Luai. Jerome Luai is obviously a great player, but Jock Madden comes into the team. He adds stability and he allows Dewey just to get that little bit wider and a little bit freer. He's a great addition and probably not a better team without Jerome Luai there, obviously, but a different team, and he brings his own strengths.
Very much looking forward to that one this afternoon, coverage from 3 p.m. Also looking forward to Women's State of Origin. It's around the corner now, 19 days until it gets underway up in Newcastle. You can still get your tickets at nrl.com/tickets. Millie Elliott will be back after the break to preview what is the greatest rivalry in rugby league.
It's time to scream for glory.
Oh, we've got a great Origin on our hands tonight.
It's a huge game for both of these sides.
Ampol Women's State of Origin, starting April 30.
It's game on.
Exclusive, live and free on 9 and 9 now.
Welcome to the passing competition, so no bloody arguments, you understand? No foot fault there, Greeny. And a 10. No pressure, Luke. This is one of the more important things that happens here on a Sunday, understand? Oh, beautiful. Rounds of applause.
Yes, welcome to another edition of Freddy's Pass Off. We have some very special guests from the Campbelltown City Tigers. So we have Ruby, Jaden, Harper and their club president, Drew. And before we have a little chat to them, Freddie, some great news announced today, and we'll have more info in our coverage this afternoon. But West Group Macarthur are injecting $620,000 into local footy in the region. So thanks so much to West Group Macarthur to help with things like regos, equipment, because it can be expensive to get your kids involved in sport.
And this hasn't been the first time they've contributed as well, so great support as the Junior Rugby League. Drew, what's it like, mate? What's club rugby league like out of Campbelltown?
Yeah, it's a different perspective out there. Kids just enjoying this footy out there. Sport's growing big out there. Some of the kids that's coming through the skill level out there is crazy.
So, are you happy to start? Kicked off this week, didn't it?
Kicked off this week, round one. So
how'd you go?
Good turnout, home games. So
good. Did you win? Who'd you play?
Minto.
Minto. Are they the Cobras? Who are the Minto?
That's Hainsey's old club, isn't it?
Yeah, Israel Folau. He's Queenslander, sorry. Minto. Just on the other side of the border, that Minto, the other Minto.
Everywhere's in Queensland.
Are you ready to go?
But
The big horse.
Let's
Steve
go.
Simpson can have a go first, so you guys can help collect the balls.
Righto, big horse.
All right.
Here you go. Yeah, someone when you come down
Couple
here.
stand behind the...
Alrighty, let's get the clock going. 3,
From here, Simmer.
Yeah.
Well, there.
2, 1, go.
Yeah, Simmer.
Oh, yeah, start to the bullseye.
There we go.
Yeah, keep going.
Dangerous back there.
Quickest.
Ready?
Yep.
Yep. Quicker.
You wind
Quicker.
him up.
Yep.
Ready?
Wind up, big horse.
Oh, it's going to break the board.
15 to go.
Yeah, look.
Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
Ready?
I didn't know you could pass him.
Ready?
I've never seen you pass.
He wasn't allowed to.
Yep.
5,
Good work.
4,
You only got sprayed
3,
if you...
2, 1, swap sides.
Oh, other side.
Phil.
Yep.
This is where we...
Oh, he's
Slow transition.
on fire.
Balls.
Phil.
Balls, quick.
Yep. Balls. Yep. Ball.
To go.
Lactated.
Phil.
Chaos.
Oh, he nearly took out a head.
Look at that kid.
Phil. Oh. Stay your footy.
That's it.
Go, he nearly took out. Go, keep going. Phil.
2.
One more.
One more horse.
Yeah. Oh, B, you wish you had that one.
Not bad.
Not bad for a bloke who never threw a ball for 15 years.
That was very good indeed.
Wasn't game enough, Freddy.
Leaderboard's a bit later. The kiddies are up. Let's go. Representing Campbelltown
all
City Tigers. So, who wants to go first? You get 20 seconds each.
Who's up? Come on. Here we go.
Ruby,
Hey, come on.
Raiden,
Come over
you're
here.
up
Come over
first.
here.
I think you get a bit
Good boy.
closer.
Can you throw
You
down
go
the
now.
balls?
Here's
There we
fire,
go.
mate.
Yeah.
All right, ready?
All
You've got this. 3, 2, 1,
Go.
go.
Let's go.
That's a good start.
Ready?
Throw more, quicker. That's it.
That's the one. There we go.
Yes, that's
Yep,
it.
and
Good
again,
start.
and again,
Ready?
and again.
Oh,
Go,
nice.
go.
Yes.
Good boy.
10 to go.
That's
Yes.
the one.
And again.
Yes.
Yeah,
again.
baby.
Yes.
Yes.
5.
His rhythm.
Yes. Keep going.
Greatest day of my life.
Oh, no, we don't want to change.
Swap, Harper's in.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Fire him
You're
through.
on fire, mate.
There we
yeah.
go. That's it.
Oh,
And again.
Yep.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
super
Keep going. You got to throw
Got that
more. Throw
spiral
more.
going.
5.
Throw more.
Ruby,
Yep.
next.
Yep.
Ready?
Ready?
2, 1. Ruby's
Next one.
in. Swap over.
Next one.
Bin.
All right.
Go.
Yes.
There we go.
Got this, Ruby.
Keep going, Rubes.
10 seconds.
Keep going, Ruby.
Ready.
Oh, yeah. And again. And again. And again. That's it.
4.
Oh, yeah.
3.
Another one.
Keep
Go,
going.
go. And again. One more. One more.
One more.
Hit.
Oh.
Jeez, I come far.
Dangerous.
Did it hit
You have a
you?
passing machine.
Good stuff.
Wow.
All right, coming close.
Good work, buddy. Here.
Well done.
Bugger.
Coming
Right.
close, kids. Great stuff representing the Campbelltown City Tigers. And I know he's not mic'd up, but cutest little footy fan. This has got to be the best haircut in rugby league. Can we have a look at the back?
Oh.
Look at that.
Business at the front.
Love it. Good stuff. Drew and kids, thank you so much for coming in. The leaderboards are coming up after the break. We'll see you very soon on the Sunday Footy Show.
The NRL is littered with talented players who've transitioned into the coaching ranks. Now, in the women's game, following trailblazers like Karen Murphy and Luisa Aviiki, many more opportunities are opening up. Today, I get to sit down with a few talented Sydney Roosters who are trying their hand with the clipboard.
Oh, Baxter's through this time. Spotted Wheeler in the defensive line. Punching her down, but Baxter gets there. The crowd trying to wheel New South Wales over the line, and they'll get there. Keely Davis, that's the way to make an impact. She's a smart player, Keely Davis.
So Keely, what made you want to become a coach?
Strangey, he approached me at the end of the 2024 season. We had just finished and he asked me if I'd like to head coach for the next season for Tarsha Gale. think I'm always going to him with some scrum plays and different pieces for our team. He knew that I liked looking at things and spent a lot of time doing video.
Let's just make sure it's quality the whole session.
So, Corbin, how would you describe your coaching style?
I'm definitely, I love being the assistant coach. I'm not someone who loves to give a spray. I leave that to Keely. I think she's very good at that and thrives off it, actually.
You know what? I feel like last year I was a lot more emotional and reactive, whereas this year I've definitely probably calmed down a little bit and realised not to be so reactive.
Good work, Mia. Nice way. Good effort.
I thought, and the club thought, it was really important. It's sort of double-edged, I guess. It's for the girls to give them an opportunity to start developing in areas that they want to, I guess, take on post-footy, post-playing. But it's also really exciting and important to our younger females in the pathways to get taught by current NRLW players who are also teaching them the systems and skills that we want at NRLW at a lesser level, obviously, with the age groups. But it's allowing the younger players to have consistency from Leith Viola to Tasha Gale into our Harvey Norman and then into our NRLW. So it's been great, and this is the second year. We're really looking at the improvements through the players because of that. To have some young female coaches, you know, like these two are, like Frez and Keely, with the younger girls, I know they've got instant respect because they look up to them, they watch them on telly, they know that everything they practice, they preach, and so I think it's really valuable for our younger girls.
Just being a player doesn't make you a good coach necessarily, so I'm just grateful that I've had that experience the last 2 years and I have that option for the future.
It's been really enjoyable, and I've got a great crew beside me, Corby in there and Melissa Spiro as well, so being able to do it with those two and having constant feedback with each other has been unreal.
Score the try. Nice. Get a touch. Get a touch.
Great stuff, Corbin and Keely. They'll be hoping they get the chance to pull on a blue jersey in just 18 days and 6 hours' time. How about that? I can't believe Women's State of Origin is just around the corner. Shout out as well to Jamie Frezard, one of your teammates, Mill, because she's also coaching the under-17s there at the Roosters. So you must be proud to see your mates doing great stuff at the club.
Yeah, it's so great to see the pathways at the Roosters. And we often look at female coaches and what makes a good female coach. And Strangey often says the best coaches are the ones that are playing right now. They're learning all of the systems, they're taking all of that with them, and they're putting it and installing that to the younger generation coming through. So right from 16s through to 18s, I think it's nearly all pretty much players that play for the Roosters. And we saw Boyd last week in. The Roosters love the older players coming in and embedding their knowledge.
Speaking of playing, you played a game yesterday. How did you pull up? You're only 18 days before the first Origin.
I tell you what, it's been a long time since I've played a game of footy. And thank God we've got another trial coming up next week. But it's just good to be back playing. Obviously, our first game for the women is State of Origin. So, yeah, I'll have to play a little bit better than I did yesterday. But that's what first games are for.
You've been part of the evolution of really NRLW, and you would have seen over the time people actually utilising pre-seasons to get fit, you know, upload their skills. Like, how different is it now?
Oh, it's come a long way. We've got these blocks where we're training and playing with the best in Origin, in the best in the game. So that definitely sharpens you going into NRLW in particular. But there's nothing like Origin. We've seen it. It's just such a different game, and Queensland are doing their thing, we're doing ours, and we won't know what it's like until game one, until that team gets selected and we're playing footy. So it's been a long time, but it would be nice to play a few games before Origin, that's for sure. We know what it's like watching trial games for men and women, so but it's always a good spectacle, that's for sure.
So the first game is up at Newcastle McDonald Jones Stadium. Some tickets still available, nrl.com/tickets. Joey, what's your message to all the locals up there to get out and watch? Because we've had some cracking, like whether it's club games, Women's Origin.
Oh, it'll be huge.
Always a great atmosphere.
It'll be huge, and a lot of local girls are going to be playing in it, so get out and watch it. Everyone loves rugby league up there in Newcastle and Hunter. Go and support it. It'll be a great night.
So
hopefully the rain holds off. It has been torrential rain
for the last few years
in Newey, but they always turn up.
I'll make a call. I'll sort that out.
Thanks.
You are God there, so
No, further.
you can sort anything.
Maybe the other way.
That's why you live down here now.
The other match this afternoon is, before we get to our one, the Titans and the Eels. So for the Eels, Fred, it's a horror injury toll. It's mounting. So last week they also lost Bailey Simonson, Sean Russell as well.
Lost a back line,
Yeah, they've already got Jermaine Hopgood out with an ACL injury. Matt Dury.
Yep.
So, but
he's out.
they still do come in as favourites for this one. Who are you leaning towards?
Well, let's sing on the back of Mitchell Moses. He just has that ability that even on a bad set, he gets you out of trouble. So they can show a little bit of discipline. And they're due for a win. I think they're due for a bit of luck, the Eels. So I'm going to back them at CommBank.
What about you, Bill, Joey?
I really like the Titans in this one. I think they can cause an upset.
Yeah, I'm with Joey. I think the Titans have been building. They got their first win of the season a couple of weeks ago. Really good performance against the Broncos. I think with the injury toll to the Eels, I think the Titans can get home.
All right, lots to play out this afternoon. Before we do head to the break, the leaderboards from Freddy's pass-off just before the break. Here they are. Steve Simpson up into second.
Very good.
Just behind Robbie Farah. Still got it.
Wait, what's it? Let's say Steve Simpson 300 on top of Boyd Corder. My maths.
Yeah, I think that's someone.
third.
Let's get rid of the Newcastle back row and put the Roosters back row.
And the Kings,
Mate, he's from Newcastle, boy.
Campbelltown City in fourth. So great stuff, but I think the highlight of that segment. What about the little mullet?
That was cool. The dancing.
Yeah.
Owning it.
God, there's so many mullets now, isn't
I know.
there?
Rugby league players have a lot to answer for.
Good stuff.
That was Gus when he was younger.
With the mullet. Did you ever have one?
No, not.
Surely everyone had a mullet.
They had long hair, don't they?
Anyway, there might be some mullets out at Campbelltown this afternoon.
Oh.
God's country, the Tigers, they're going to get a win. I can feel it. Sorry, Joey. See you soon.
No chance. That'll do ya.
Hasler firing a long ball. There's a chance here for the Magpies. It's with Kevin McGuinness. He kicks. McGuinness. Did he fault it? Kevin McGuinness. Redonicus has claimed a try. And Manson awards it. West are home. And they are loving it.
A nice little trip down memory lane.
That'll be Benji today.
But do it responsibly, kids.
Well, we wish we still had characters like that. I know times are different.
I mean, we've got Joey.
I don't smoke cigarettes.
Can we get you doing that this afternoon?
I'd love to, yeah.
One of a kind, Tommy Redonicus.
Was that win, lose or draw, or was that just after a win?
Mate, that's when he woke up.
He just
still hadn't woken his eyes up, head still on the pillow.
Let's smoke behind, let's close the doors and have a dart.
Yeah. Well, that's
Lots to love about Tommy. We might relive a bit of the slapping as well out at Campbelltown Stadium this afternoon.
I got hold of Roy Masters yesterday and we're texting and getting some stories in the background of that team through, what was it, the 70s and 80s. Wow, that was different.
He's not quite Tommy Redonicus, but he has put a bit of a hard edge on this Tigers team. That vision that came out in the pre-season, I just think he's turned their attitudes around a little bit and they're going after something at the moment.
Yep, big game this Savo, and Appy Coruscant will actually be one of our special guests on 100% Footy tomorrow night. Brett Kenny will be our legend as well on the panel. Coverage is from 9:30 straight after maths. All of the regulars, Gus, Gal, Alana Ferguson as well. So dissecting all of the issues across what has so far been a massive weekend of rugby league. So before we go, final tips.
Final tips. Tiger at Campbelltown. Tiger.
I'm back in the Knights. They're on a roll.
I'm on the Tigers. Tigers into Titans.
Be good to your mum. There. That's my
I
can't say who I've tipped. I can't say.
Get him going.
Hasn't it been published online?
My short-term memory's bad.
Joey has backed the Tigers.
No, I haven't. My short-term memory, I can't remember.
Can we get a Tiger for you? Go online.
Yeah, how's that?
Love you all. See you out at Campbelltown.
Put those things down.
Those little carny hands. Little carny hands.
Oh, God.